Hello, everybody, and welcome to Year 5 of Badgerclan. Jesus, we've already done 5, but what can I say? I've been on a roll. I've been wanting to draw, I've been wanting to play the game, I've just been really into it. So, without further ado, let us begin. Alright, so the year starts off with Smokestar feeling a sense of dread. So she heads out into the moorlands, wanting to check the border alone. There's been some confusion with the Serpent Clan border, and she wants to make sure it's alright. She finds the other leader doing the exact same thing. Neither of them can agree on where the border is actually supposed to be, and turns out nobody really does. So finally, they just agree to leave it to the gathering in part. At some point, she tries to talk to Oatfur, but they just end up standing there and being awkward about it. And then around Moon 53, she gets heat stroke, which she does recover from. Um, Sadly, while out on patrol, a Smokestar meets a fox. And despite everything, she ends up losing her first life. So yeah, Smokestar had an eventful year. The very first moon, the deputy Gus Talon retires. He still spars with the apprentices, wanting to make sure that he stays in shape. Finally, his broken leg heals, but he is left scarred. He moves to the Elder's Den with Petalmouse and Ganderise and is not happy about it, but he tries to keep cordial. He appreciates Bristlepaw and how helpful the young cat is, and then he gets into a huge argument with one of the new cats. He forgets how new they are and how they don't know a lot about the life of the warrior, and thus doesn't know about their ways immediately. And so he just gets onto them for something minor. And then he finds some lavender, and he decides to kind of keep it, kind of in his fur. And so the year is pretty slow for him. He's just kind of snapping at people, getting in arguments. And one day, Gus Talon wonders, for the first time in his life, if maybe Badgerclan isn't where he belongs. Crazy, he's one of the founders. You'd think if he would belong anywhere, it's Badgerclan. But he's starting to think maybe that won't be the case. So, who knows what's going to happen with Gus Talon. Maybe it's just a fleeting feeling and he'll be fine in another moon. Or maybe he's just still mourning Flowercry. I guess we'll just have to see where this goes. So, after Gus Talon retires, Brindle Pelt is chosen to be the new deputy, which is a surprise to me, considering, she's from another clan, she's not the most experienced warrior, and Brindle Pelt herself is lost and confused with this new appointment. She isn't super close to anyone in particular, so she ends up going to Bristlepaw and asks him what he thinks. He says that she's an honorable warrior who has proven herself over and over again, and that's an insight that Brindlepelt is thankful for. On her first patrol as deputy, Brindlepelt sees a badger set in Dusk Clan territory. She does the responsible thing and waits for a Dusk Clan patrol to come by so that she can tell them of the danger. And then, weirdly enough, Brindlepelt hears a rumor that the new cat likes somebody else and she gets jealous. Then, while out and about, she gets a tail injury from a fox. But then something else happens. One early morning, Brindlepelt brings back a single kit, Grass Kit. She refuses to say where or how she got the scrap of fur. He's a newborn and looks nothing like her. But turns out that while Brindlepelt would do anything for Badgerclan, something or someone always tied her back to Valley Clan. Either way, she starts staying in the nursery with her son. Some of the clan are angry about this, and they call for her dismissal. And after hearing this loud minority, she asks to step down. She just wants to be with her son right now. And from there, you see her push her clans away. She is only spending time with her son. She's not going on patrol. She's not talking to her clanmates. She is just focusing on her child. And it's concerning, but I hope she'll kind of get out of this funk she's in. Um, and kind of get her head on straight. So, Moon 1, the main thing Nutpelt takes note of is that she apparently cannot stand to be around Golden Seed. She thinks the younger warrior is too anxious. And then, out of everyone, Nutpelt decides to confess to Furled Shadow. She was convinced that she would feel the same way, and well, she doesn't. She's a medicine cat. She cannot have a mate. However, Nutpelt is still upset about the entire thing. And she just wishes Furled Shadow could understand just how crazy she is about her. She's all she's been able to think about recently. And then while she's thinking of Furled Shadow, she notices Ginger Honey is starting to act weird. And she thinks that Ginger Honey isn't being totally honest about their relationship. Now, if you remember, Ginger Paw was Nutpelt's apprentice, and she does graduate to be a warrior fairly early on in the year. And it's after she becomes a warrior, Nutpelt starts seeing that Ginger Honey's acting kind of strange, and then she starts thinking about that. And she just feels silly about the entire situation. Um, but she does think Brindlepelt is a horrible deputy and should step down, especially after bringing home a kid that apparently is hers, but who's the other mother, you know? So once Brindlepelt steps down, Smokestar says, "Put your money where your mouth is," and Nutpelt is chosen to be deputy. Apparently, she decides to celebrate in style because she quickly becomes pregnant and takes Ginger Honey as her mate. And Ginger Honey is female, so the kids definitely aren't hers. And I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the relationship between Nutpelt and Ginger Honey, because Nutpelt never had feelings for Ginger Honey until she was like graduated as an apprentice. While Ginger Honey has kind of always had a thing for her mentor, and I don't know, I think it's weird. And I'm thinking about potentially breaking them up, but it happened, so I figured I'd keep it in. Either way, Nutpelt is anxious as she moves into the nursery after a moon. She's doing all of her deputy duties as her belly swells, and she prays the litter will be small. And when the time comes, she refuses to say who the father of her kits are. As far as anyone shall be concerned, their only parents are her and Ginger Honey. She names them Bakit, Podkit, Squirrelkit, and Boulderkit. So yeah, did not get that small litter she wanted. There's not a lot to say about Gingerpaw, because she earns the name Ginger Honey and is honored for her humor. She makes sure Smokestar knows she's loved, whatever that means. And then she's seen going on a romantic moonlit stroll with Nutpelt. Ginger Honey and Nutpelt then become mates, and she receives blueberries as a gift from Grasskit, and she accepts it with a purr. So, the very first moon, Petalmouse retires at the same time as Gandereyes. The two wish to spend their retirement together. Petalmouse still helps for Old Shadow when needed. Just because she retired doesn't mean she doesn't have tips and tricks and advice to give. While out on a walk, the retired medicine cat finds a newly grown clump of cat mint. Nobody else is around to get it, so she bends down to get it for the clan. What she gets instead is a bee sting to the face. And then she purrs for a really long time in one of Gander Rice's jokes. Now, Gander Rise, he retires first moon, and then he immediately has a spat with Rainbow Nest, and then he promises to teach Bristlepaw a new technique. Everyone likes Bristlepaw. Everyone likes Bristlepaw. And Gander Eyes is one of the cats who is not happy when Brindlepelt brings cat Brasket home. He tosses a lot of insults at her. And then he's appreciating Bristlepaw's company again. Yeah, Gander Eyes. He's just become a cranky old man who gets into arguments with everybody, but really appreciates Bristlepaw. Because he's an old man. He he's not doing a lot. So the only thing I have written down for Furl Shadow, really the only thing she does all year, is that she is stressed out. Her mentor is retired. Cloud Muzzle died last year. She is the only medicine cat for a fairly large clan. So she's really stressed out. There is not nearly enough time or herbs to deal with all these sick cats coming in and out of the medicine den. And she's kind of at a loss. So, yeah, that's Pearl Shadow. She is not having a good year. Golden Seed. Moon 2, he is caught outside of clan territory, and really the only thing he does outside of that this year is he becomes a mediator. Yeah, no, he decides, you know what, I'm too anxious for the warrior lifestyle with the hunting and the fighting and the constant patrolling. No, no, no. I want to help cats understand each other better. And I want to make sure relations are good. So yeah, Golden Seed has become the first mediator of Badgerclan. Look at that! Look at him go. Oatfur, Oatfur, Oatfur. What is there to say about Oatfur? Well, how about him admiring how brave Aloepaw is? And then, while Oatfur is out hunting, he meets Poppy, a kitty pet, and he wants to join the clan. And Oatfur is willing to introduce him and give him a chance. So Oatfur then sunbathes with Petalmouse and Rainbow Nest. They have a nice chat. He comforts Golden Seed after he has a nightmare. And then he spends time with Rainbow Nest, where they talk genuinely about their aspirations and dreams. They find that in that realm, they actually have a lot of common. And then Oatfur just really hopes the new cat, Poppy, will notice him. Now, Poppy is a male, so is Oatfur. All the cats are gay. Just all the cats are gay. I don't know why all the cats are gay. I don't have anything in particular against it. It's just, statistically speaking, it's kind of weird that all the cats are gay. So, on the other side of that coin, Moon 1, Poppy Flare joins. He was a kitty pet named Poppy. He chooses a more warrior appropriate name, and he goes by Poppy Flare. So, Poppy immediately has a strange dream and goes to Furled Shadow for advice about it. And Furled Shadow kind of takes it into consideration, kind of mulls it over, decides that it's not really worth getting upset about. So then he also wants to compliment Stoke Chasm's fighting moves, but he doesn't really know how to say it because, well, he's new. He's still learning himself. He doesn't really know what to say besides, hey, that looks kind of cool. Well, then Poppy Flare finds Oatfur incredibly charming. He thinks he's neat. And then he goes on patrol and finds what he thinks is a new tunnel entrance. Turns out it's a fox den. Luckily, the fox is not there. We've lost a cat that way. He is then seen touching noses with one of his old kitty pet friends. Scandalous, I know, but truthfully, he probably just saw one of his friends and was like, oh my gosh, guess where I am now? Yeah. And then he decorates Oatfurt's nest with flowers to surprise him. Your Honor, if that isn't the gayest thing I've ever heard. They're just sweet. They're just a couple of sweet old gays. Well, they're actually quite young, so sweet young gays. So, next up is Crested Face, and she has a mock battle with Nutpelt, and then offers nest building advice to Poppyflare when he joins the clan. She gets a runny nose for a while, and it then takes a turn for the worse. By Moon 4, she has fully developed white cough. And then Crested Face stays up all night, while in the medicine den, trying to think of ways to impress Nutpelt. If you can't tell, she has a little bit of a crush on Nutpelt at this point. So Crested Face recovers from white cough, but she still has that runny nose for the longest time. And then Crested Face brushes against Stoke Chasm just before adjusting her posture and purring. Yes, she also has a thing for Stoke Chasm. A straight ship in my warrior clan? Perish the thought. So Crested Face is then on patrol when she finds a kitty pet who says they want to join clan life. The cat's name is Pikachu, and she is scared off when she actually hears what it's like. And then, believe it or not, Crested Face and Stoke Chasm actually become mates. And now we'll talk about that mate and see what this was all like from his point of view. So Stoke Chasm got into a fight with a badger last year, and he has been permanently scarred from the badger attack and has a limp. He has a weak leg. So he immediately spars with Ofer. He refuses to be left behind because of his weak leg. And around this time, he is also developing a crush on Crested Face. Either way, he's still looking for trouble to get into, weak leg be damned. But then Stoke Chasm and Crested Face over the year, they get to know each other, they spend more time together, and they kind of have this slow burn that kind of grows over the year. By the end of Leaf Bear, Stoke Chasm realizes he wants to commit himself to Crested Face. He wants to pad beside her for the rest of his life. So, at the beginning of the year, we are with Rainbow Nest, and he is seen taking food from a two-leg. And after this, Rainbow Nest is constantly wondering if he is good enough. And he keeps going back to the two legs. Later in the year, he is leading a patrol when he hears a cat. It turns out to be a kitty pet. The other cat runs away, and now the clan is aware of Yumiko. So, Rainbow Nest is feeling a lot of things this year. Um, he has a lot of thoughts about his self-worth. He has a lot of thoughts about his place in the clan. After all, he was adopted. He was a rogue's child. So, who knows where Rainbow Nest will go. Hopefully it'll be all good things in year 6. Oh, oh dear. Aloepaw. First year, Aloepaw becomes Allospeckle and is honored for his calmness. And he also offers some feathers to Poppyflare when he joins the clan. Now immediately, Allospeckle is bitten by a snake, but lives, and so he's in the medicine den for quite a few moons. And then he is fresh out of the medicine den, decides to go on a walk. He ends up finding dog scent near the border. And then he finds the dog, and he runs for his life, and he tries to lead the dog away from the clan. And fear gives him speed, but it's not enough. The dog catches him by the tail. Still, he manages to escape with only his tail injured. So, then, by the time his tail heals, also he's permanently scarred by this, 5 minutes later he gets a sprained paw. Allospeckle has to be the most unlucky cat I have ever seen in my life. Just, wow. This poor guy. So, when he's fairly young, Fleetpaw daydreams about having a mate and kids. He's not thinking about anyone in particular, he just wants a family. Sure enough, when he goes out with Brindlepaw and Bristlepaw, Fleetpaw finds an abandoned kit all alone. The parent is nowhere to be found. She's nursed back to health and joined the clan. Fleetpaw names her Thrushkit. After these events, Fleetpaw is named a warrior and is given the name Fleetspot. He is honored for his guardedness. So Thrushkit joins the clan at 5 moons old after being abandoned by her mother. And the next moon, she is apprenticed to Ginger Honey. At her ceremony, she can't help but wonder if this is really the life for her. By the end of the year, Thrushpaw completes her training and is given the warrior name Thrushpatch. So, to begin with Bristlepaw. Bristlepaw is wowed by how brave Fleetpaw is. And then Bristlepaw listens to Gus Allen's stories about life and what that was like when he was young. Bristlepaw starts developing a bit of a crush on Crested Face, noticing how beautiful her eyes are. Everyone's kind of into Crested Face. So then, while out on patrol with Smokestar, Bristlepaw finds some paw prints. He follows the trail, but still gets ambushed by the cat who caused them. He is seriously injured and has to be dragged into camp by Smokestar. After he is healed up, Bristlepaw is then given his warrior name, Bristlepool, and is honored for his energy. It is after this he decides what he really wants in life. He wants to be deputy. He wants to be next in line. So, yeah, that's Bristlepaw. He is working his tail off to be the very best, like no one ever was. Which, good for him. Ambition is good in healthy doses, and if you're not like Tiger Star. So that is all for this year of Badgerclan. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to drop a like and a comment if you are so inclined. And feel free to keep coming around for Badgerclan content because I'm not stopping anytime soon. Now, I can't promise it'll always be at a breakneck pace like what I've been doing, but I've just been really into Badgerclan lately, so that's where I'm at. I have made a Tumblr, and I plan on posting Badgerclan content that I don't necessarily show in the videos. I will have it linked in the description if you are interested in that sort of thing. Now, you all have a wonderful day, and go do the best with your lives.